Hi everyone, I'm Neil from the Data and Insight team here at RocketMill, and today I'm going to be explaining that good measurement isn't about measuring everything. Now I'm sure you'll agree that data is our most valuable asset. With data we can understand the people that are coming to our websites and at the same time deliver them a worthwhile and first-class experience. So clearly there is a high demand for data. It's more in demand than ever before. We want to know more and more about our audiences. However, I do believe that the value of this data diminishes when we try and measure absolutely everything about our audience. And as such, I believe that within the industry, we are reaching a crucial tipping point, whereby if we measure too much, we actually have a negative impact, and it means that we have difficulty in analysing the data itself. So you may be thinking, well, what is the impact of measuring everything? Well, first and foremost, you can think of it as a set of scales, with measurement on one side and analysis on the other. Now, measurement and analysis go hand in hand. They're intrinsically linked, and you can't do one without the other. So ideally, you want this perfect balance between the two. However, businesses that try to measure absolutely everything create an imbalance. And the reason for this is that businesses that measure everything are spending more and more time actually just maintaining measurement. And this is because Tag Manager containers like Google Tag Manager are getting larger and larger as we measure more and more. So in this particular example, you can see here, there are over 300 individual configurations that you need to regularly monitor and check just to ensure that your current measurement is being maintained. As you add more and more measurement, those numbers are going to get larger, and you're going to spend more time just maintaining measurement. This creates an imbalance in our scales. And ultimately, it means that there's less time spent analysing data. But it's not just this measurement versus analysis battle that we've got to face with here. Businesses that are using the free version of Google Analytics and are trying to measure everything, we're seeing more and more that key Google Analytics limits are being reached. For example, with the free version of Google Analytics, you are limited to 10 million hits per month per property. Now, at first that may seem like a huge amount, but hits are not just page views. You need to add in all the event tracking that you've got set up, all of your custom dimensions and metrics, and any e-commerce data that's being sent as well. So what we see is that businesses that try to measure everything are not only getting very close to that limit, they're actually exceeding that limit by a significant number. This is a violation of Google's terms of service, which can lead to your data effectively being sampled or throttled moving forward, so it has an impact on the overall integrity from that point of view. Even on a smaller scale, the free version of Google Analytics limits you in terms of goals and custom dimensions. So you're limited to 20 goals and 20 custom dimensions. Now, businesses that try to measure absolutely everything are utilising both these functions, which is great, but they're being used without any kind of strategy or prioritisation in mind, which means that they get used up quickly. And as you try to scale measurement, you get the issue of them all being used and not really having anywhere to go in terms of measurement from there. But perhaps the biggest issue in terms of businesses that try to measure everything and using Google Analytics is around sampling. So as you may be aware, when you're running reports in Google Analytics, if the underlying data in the background is bigger than a certain number, it doesn't return the full data, it returns data based on a sample of your audience. Now this is an issue because you effectively have conflicting sources of truth. It means that when you try to analyse the data at a granular level, you can't, and it really causes a big issue from that point of view. And what ultimately everything I've talked about so far, what it leads to, is it leads to finding insights and opportunity becoming difficult. Now that goes very much against what data's about. You know, data should be easy, it should be accessible, it should mean that insights and opportunity are easy to get. However, by trying to measure absolutely everything, we're in essence trying to go the wrong way. And this actually affects a lot of things, but more crucially our audience. So it's affecting how we acquire our relevant audiences. We can't acquire relevant audiences if we're not spending enough time analysing the data and we're trying to measure everything. We can't give those audiences the valuable and first-class experience that they deserve, again, because we're not spending enough time analysing the data. So that's where I believe we sit at the moment within the industry, and we're reaching this crucial tipping point that I talked about earlier. Now, we at RocketMill have been working with our clients to overcome this challenge, and we believe that good measurement needs a robust framework. So I'm going to talk through how we approach that now. Ultimately, it begins by identifying the metrics that matter. So rather than trying to measure everything, it's almost in effect to have a sense of priority there. So what measurements are important to you as a business, which ones are less so? Reese, our head of data and insight, has produced this fantastic video on finding the metrics that matter. I'd highly recommend you view this on the RocketMill website to get an understanding of how you go through that process. Once you've identified the metrics that matter, the next step is to build a measurement plan. Now this takes all of the metrics that matter that we've identified, and we link those measures back to the company goals and objectives, and ultimately the overall company vision as well. So what we will do for our clients is build out a matrix, starting from the company vision at the top, going down to the goals and objectives, and then the measurements that matter that feed into that. Once we've identified our metrics that matter and we've built our measurement plan, the next step is to review our existing measurement. So for example, this could be conducting a Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager audit. What I would say here is you have to be absolutely ruthless. Any measurement that doesn't conform to your metrics that matter or conform to your measurement plan, you need to be reviewing and questioning, do you need this information, and removing that if necessary, because remember, we wanted to try and readdress that balance that I was talking about earlier. At the same time, by going through this exercise, you're undoubtedly going to come across new measurement, which does relate back to your metrics that matter, does relate back to your measurement plan, but you're not measuring at the moment. So a great opportunity to implement new measurement that matters and has relevance and has meaning at the same time as well. So we believe that this approach is fundamental because it gives your measurement a framework. Not only does it give you a framework, but by going through this process, you're also giving your measurement integrity as well. You could have the most robust measurement framework in the world, but if the integrity behind it is not accurate, then you're going to be making business decisions off of wrong data, which has potentially catastrophic circumstances. So by going through this process, you are addressing the integrity at the same time, which is really good. And I believe this is really important, and this framework needs to be adopted because we then bring it back to analysis. As I talked about earlier, we have our measurement and analysis, and we're bringing that more balanced. Not only that, we're bringing it back to our people as well. By spending more time doing analysis, it means we can drive a more relevant audience to our website, and we can deliver them that valuable experience that they deserve at the same time as well. So really, to conclude what I'm talking about today, what makes good measurement? Well, hopefully I've managed to say that good measurement isn't measuring everything. What I believe good measurement is, it's knowing the metrics that matter. It's about having a measurement plan in place so you know exactly how your metrics influence your company vision and your company goals, objectives and KPIs. Absolutely, it's about ensuring integrity as well and having the accuracy of data. But ultimately, it's all about having that balance between measurement and analysis and not having it too far one way or the other. So if I was to summarise everything I've said today in a sentence, I strongly believe that good measurement isn't about measuring everything. It's about measuring everything that is relevant. Thank you very much.